Hey guys, Casual Friday. That means it's Nancy Matz Friday, and today's topic is how not to suffer because of the thoughts of others. Be right back. Grab your popcorn and snacks. Find a comfy spot, take a seat or lie down, and let me transport you to a place of fantasy, ghost stories, ancient legends, odd creatures, alien encounters, and other magical topics. You may even decide to join the conversation. From faraway lands to your own backyard, with a small dash of pixie dust. Turn out the lights and open your minds. The journey is about to begin. Good, happy Friday, everybody. How's everybody doing today? I hope you said great. I've been off by a day. We had that day off on Monday, and I've been thrown off. Back last night when I realized it was Thursday, I was like, wow, already. Anyway, my name is Charlotte. I'm going to be your host for the next hour. I'm also the owner of the California Haunts Paranormal Investigation Team based out of Sacramento, California. Excuse me, my thing keeps falling. Hang on. My thing keeps falling. There we go. Wow, it's never done that before. Stop falling. Okay. Ha! I hate it when my cords are dangling. Oh, I don't know. I'm hearing a hum in the background. I don't know why. Hang on a second here. Yeah, I've got a mic hum. Oh, wow. I've got a slight... Okay, anyway. I'll have to deal with that later. Yeah, hear it when it comes up? Yeah, see, there's a mic hum, and there should be a mic hum here. There it goes. I fixed it. It was loose. Okay. All good. As long as you guys can hear me, let me know in the chat room. Make sure you can hear me. I could hear a slight mic hum. Even with my bad hearing, I could hear it. Anyway, I'm going to be your host for the next hour. I'm also the owner of the California... Whoop, I did it again. Wrong button. You can see how today's going already, huh? Right here? There we go. I'm also the owner of the California Haunts Paranormal. Let me try this again. My name is Charlotte. I'm going to be your host for the next hour. I'm also the owner of the California Haunts Paranormal Investigation Team based out of Sacramento, California, and we are 45 strong up and down the state. So if you have a paranormal need and need us to come out, we can do that. The problem is, it's not a problem, but the issue is California is a huge state. Nancy can tell you that. We're huge, huge, huge. So it might take us a couple days to get out to you, even though we have people positioned around the state. But we will get out to you. And in the case that we can't get out to you right away, we have psychics on staff or mediums on staff who can call you and talk to you about what may or may not be going on. And in most cases, if it is paranormal, they can settle the energy down before we get out there. Best way to contact us is Dr. Google. Hit those, let your fingers do the walking, right? Let your fingers do the walking over your keyboard and just Google us. California Haunts Paranormal Investigation Team, California Haunts Radio. That's the best way to do it. Okay, if you're watching from Facebook tonight, and a lot of you are, and you haven't done so already, please hit that follow button. We're always looking for followers. Same thing with YouTube. If you haven't subscribed already, please hit that subscribe button. And also during the show, this goes for both Facebook and YouTube. Show us some love, thumbs up, hearts, smileys, whatever you can do for us. And talk amongst yourselves in the chat room. Talk to us in the chat room. Because what that does is that puts us up higher in the FYP, and it puts us out to more people. Okay, it distributes this out. This month, I think I made this announcement last month, but since it's Nancy's crowd, I'm going to make the announcement again. This month, we have done this spectacularly. Our numbers have more than tripled. So far for the RSS feed, and that's you guys out there on Apple and iHeartRadio and all those other places, we have gone to over 9,500 downloads this month. 9,500. So it's been a fun month. The month's not over yet, so it should be interesting to see where we end up. But I'm real excited about that, and I got to thank Nancy for that too, because since I've been not feeling well and things haven't been going well for me this month, Nancy and I have pretty much been going back and forth carrying the show. So I have to thank Nancy and for everything she's done to help me. Anyway, and speaking of which, before we start, Nancy and I have an event coming up. Okay, February 4th, I think. I better check that out. We do have an event in February. In fact, you guys can go check out what it is because I'm having a brain fart. and it's for Valentine's Day, and Nancy's gonna be doing some relationship readings. So if you are wondering what your future lies with a future hubby or a future boyfriend or anything like that, or maybe you're already married and you want to know what's going to happen. You're going to have a kid. You're going to remain with your spouse or whatever. Or maybe you're, like I said, maybe you're searching for somebody. A lot of people out there searching. Nancy's going to try and answer those questions for you in a nice reading. So check it out. Go to the California Haunts Paranormal Investigation Team meetup. Sign over there. I think you'll like the event. I just got kicked off the air. Okay, it's going to be like that today, huh, with the internet. All right, I was out of sync there for a second. Anyway, hop on. It's just going to be like that, isn't it? Must be a big news day that I'm unaware of because I haven't been in touch with the news because that's the only time that usually happens with my internet because everybody in here has Xfinity in this whole neighborhood, and that's the stuff that happens. But anyway, yeah, hop on over to the California Haunts meetup and sign up over there. There's only 9 spots available, so they're going to go quick, and that's why I decided to put the event out early. All right, okay, it's Casual Friday. I've got my aloha on. Grogu has his aloha on, and we are ready to go with medium Nancy Matz.
Take these off. Hello, everybody.
You can just tell it's a Murphy's Law kind of day, right?
Yeah, the screen was actually freezing up. So
Yeah.
I sit here not knowing. Well, I was talking to somebody earlier today, and I was mentioning, she was calling me and telling me how bad it was raining in the Roseville area. And that's
Okay.
about an hour and 45 minutes from me, just a downpour. Well, about 20 minutes ago, it started just pouring here. And so in
Same
your
type of weather
neighborhood, is it
thing.
raining yet there, Shara?
Not yet, but I have to ask you a question. I
What?
had a strange, ghostly thing happen today.
Right up my alley.
I have a safe, a porch light. That the only way to
What?
turn it on is you a porch light, and it's one of these that goes on with motion. And
Oh,
the only way
motion
to turn it
sensors.
on is you have to flip the switch up. Okay.
Okay.
Well, tonight I come in here, I stagger in because I'm half asleep. I stagger in to the kitchen before I
He
do the
does
show,
not
and I
drink,
look out.
everybody.
Yeah, I don't drink. I'm just tired. I work all night. I go to bed at like 6 a.m. and sometimes I get up early, sometimes I don't. And anyway, so as I'm staggering through the kitchen, as I'm stop that. As I'm walking through the kitchen, I noticed that the light's on,
Oh,
and I
whoa.
never
I
touched.
love it.
I never touched the switch to turn it on.
Oh, man
So I
did.
go, my dad probably,
I
my
think it's
dad,
your dad.
because it's too dark. It was getting too dark out there. Because I
It's
go
almost like
walking back
he's a
there.
tease. He's
Oh, of
trying to
course
get
he is.
noticed. Huh?
Of course he is. Of course he is. Yeah. Because I didn't even flip the switch up, and the switch is behind the side of the refrigerator, so you really have to reach in to get to it to flip it up.
Okay.
So it has to be done deliberately. And I go over there, the switch is up, and it shouldn't have been up. So it's creepy though. You look up and you
All
think,
right,
where'd
Dad.
that light come from? See, guys, it even happens to me. Okay,
We were
I'll
talking
let you go
about,
now.
I know we're having another topic tonight, but I can actually get startled also. And it's
Yeah,
like when we're ready and someone talks to me about wanting to know information like what we're just doing, it's very easy. But if you go to a scary movie and someone jumps out at you, oh, how many of you would watch reels and they're talking
yeah,
about something really scary and then somebody with a silly costume on jumps in front of the camera? Well, I'm going to watch that name. I'm not going to go back to that client, that presenter, because I get scared and it rattles me. But I think that she has two men in her life, spirit life, that really, they're just the one is the uncle, the boxy one, but dad, he's always trying to stir things up, and I think he did that.
yeah.
It seems like I'm hearing him laugh,
Of course he is.
but it is unnerving to have things like that happen because you're not
Yes.
ready for it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and I'm wondering, why does he think you have to have the light on?
Because since the Christmas lights aren't on, because I tend to shut all that extra lighting off
Oh, okay.
when I
Uh-huh.
turn the Christmas lights on. And since I don't have the Christmas lights on right now, it's really dark out front.
Ah.
So
Um,
that's why.
it's really dark and cold here. It's a pair of socks and a long sleeve shirt and a sweater on tonight. So kind of nestle in. I hope you're not driving. I hope you're not stuck in the snow in the car.
Hmm.
I guess they have been finding people unfortunately deceased in vehicles and homeless people in their tents. What a winter. I'm so sorry, everybody. Here we
What
are,
a
Northern
horrible, horrible.
California, away from the snow and the rain and, well, the rain, but I
Well,
mean, really sleet kind of
it's like
bad
I say,
weather.
when people think of California, they think of us like Hawaii because of the beaches
Yeah,
and all
we're
that.
not.
But it's not all like that. There's mountain
Uh-huh.
areas and Sacramento, like where I live, it gets too. This is how people can't wrap their heads around this. Is that when it'll snow once in a while, but it's too cold to snow here.
Mm.
The snow turns to ice as it falls.
Okay, yes,
So
because I
yeah, yeah,
we've had snow. I worked in Auburn, California, and I think it was well, it had to be the early 80s, and we had so much snow that they were caravanning us from where Auburn Faith Hospital worked in front all the
hmm
way to the freeway, one lane, and I've never heard of it since.
right, right.
So once in a really long blue moon, then we'll have the snow, and I'm really appreciative um, of all the people that are suffering across the United States to New
Oh
York
yeah.
and
But like I said,
Connecticut,
believe it or
Mass.
not, it can get too cold to snow, and that's what it does here. It gets too cold to snow.
Mhm,
So,
mhm.
I mean, the temperatures dip, and I know the people back east are going to laugh about this, and the people in Montana, but Sacramento can get as low as the high 20s. We've gone as low as the high 20s here.
Yes. I
And there's probably
I've
my
lived
dad
in
would go, "Oh no, that's t-shirt weather in Cleveland." But yeah, but for us, it's freezing. It's like Hawaii. It's like my friends in Hawaii are freezing right now because it's dropped to below 65.
and they don't have any warm clothing probably.
Yeah. So I mean, to
A
them,
lot
it's
of
cold. So that's
yeah,
that's great
it's all
weather.
what you're
But
used to, I guess, huh?
yeah, but then there's the extreme with Sacramento. And I was laughing about the Oakland A's because they were talking about they don't want to. There's a lot of talk about not having their guys spring training in Las Vegas. When they leave the
Mhm,
stadium because it's so hot
mhm.
in Vegas. And then they were in Sacramento yesterday looking at the stadium here, and I thought, you guys are smoking something because it gets to be 110, 114 here. I don't know what the heck you're talking about. You might as well go
Well,
train in Arizona.
how about the kids that are trying the teams that are trying to play this past weekend with so much snow, they couldn't even get the snow out of the
Yeah,
stadium for people to come in and sit.
yeah.
I mean,
So
what do you do, you know? Anyway,
I don't know. It's
conversation.
just crazy. Okay. Let's get back on topic. Anyway, somehow we just
I
went, but we're good for that.
No kidding.
We're good for today.
Shar and I did talk about this earlier. If you like the show, please give us a thumbs up.
Yeah.
And I've been looking for a number of subscribers on my YouTube station,
Yes.
and I will start
Yes.
doing reels and short ones, no more than 15 minutes, hopefully, of clients and conversations and what I said. Um, 33 years worth. Just hit and miss. I'll listen to some, but it should be very interesting. I find editing and going through old readings, it's time consuming, amazing. And I don't know if my clients are listening, two young men, 36 and 38. I've talked to them this past week. One mother had two readings from me 16 years ago, and she just handed them over to her son. And I just got the biggest kick out of some of the things he said had happened, including the birth of his first child in 3 years. And
Oh,
it
I
was a
gotta put
little
that
boy,
up.
and I described him. Pardon me?
Oh, keep talking. Judith, I'm gonna
And
put
so,
Judith. Judith had a couple of posts, but go ahead. I
and
gotta show
then,
them.
yeah, uh, Snowden Davis. Okay. So anyway, tonight, so if those two young men and Alex are watching tonight, hello everybody. We're going to be talking about something that I've given every topic. I say, oh, it's my favorite topic, or I've put a lot of time and effort in thinking about it. This I really have. I love reincarnation. I love ghost communication and giving predictions 35, 50 years out, of which some of it hasn't happened yet. I entertained a group of people in I don't know, Citrus Heights or Fair Oaks, and it was sisters, Marlene, the Maticheks, Marlene and Kathleen, and she had like 35 people there. And one of the people in the audience, he says, "Go 50 years in the future," and I saw this thing open up ahead of me, and I came through it, and I got scared because I felt myself being sucked into it. But I talked about the weather, and I remember saying to the people, "That's strange. I think people are going to move in from the East Coast, and people move in from the West Coast because they don't want to live on the peripheral of the United States." and they may move the White House. And when they do, the man I see there will be very, very dark, almost black hair, shorter and stockier looking, younger versus older. Hair is very trim, not short to the head, but almost
Mm-hmm.
black. And I saw the White House being moved. So we're entering, that was probably 30 years ago, so 20 more years. But anyway, courting, uh, I want to thank you all for touching base with me and give suggestions. And I do want to say that all these are my own thoughts. I didn't look anything up, nor do I want to copy or talk about things all the time that other good people on the YouTube are talking about. Politics is interesting. People ask me all the time, the weather, the politics, absolutely. But there's a lot of really good intentioned people that kind of are really good at it. They really watch the names. I'm terrible at names. Good thing I don't am held responsible for remembering people's last names. I would not be able to do it. Courting is when I use this couple because they're interesting. There's a couple that met when she was in Panama. Then he got transferred to Germany, to Texas, to the East Coast, to Germany, and then to Italy. And in there, I described the man that would help the gentleman go from East Coast to Germany so they could travel on. Well, they all showed up. He and she did get married. They were on different branches of the military, and they settled in Italy. I just adore them, adore them. And they had 3 daughters. It was a blended, 2 for her and 1 for him. And the 3 daughters continue to live in the United States. And when I put my mind, I get on, they like video, so I do video with them. And she'll mention of a child, and I go to her, and then she'll think of that child, and I'll follow that thread of her life force to the child in the United States, California, Texas. I forgot where the other one was. But anyway, then I'll go back to her, to my friend, and then to me, and I can do it like 3 seconds. And people go, "How in the world can you do this, Nancy?" I says, "If I had the answer, I'd sell it to you for a nickel." Well, how many times have I worked with Shar or no other group remote viewing? And Shar said one time on the show, she says, "Hey, she's spooky." And I go,
It is
"Well,
spooky.
this is what I do, and I love it, and it's who I am, and it's, it is what I'm about,
Well,
even though."
imagine being in my spot. I said that I never send any information to Nancy. I will send her a picture of the front of a house, no address, no nothing. And
Mhm,
imagine how
mhm.
you feel when somebody describes the wallpaper of a house or the paneling or the carpet color or what the furniture looks like. And then you walk into this house and it's just like she says, and you're walking through and you're thinking, this is really creepy. She knows everything.
And
What's
where
on
the
the
hallway
walls,
is.
the hallway, yeah, the flowery wallpaper in the bathroom. It's in the colors, and it's just craziness. Well, it's not
How
crazy,
do we
but
do
it's Nancy. But
it?
go ahead.
We all can do this. This is what I'm trying to say. I just was born with this condition, and it really came to full force in high school. And but to make a long story short, what I'm doing is I'm entering her space and then going to the house. And even though I don't have the picture, pardon me, I have the picture, somehow it's connecting. And I go to the house, I look around, and then she does investigation. When she does investigation, I can be in that presence, not
Mm-hmm.
her, but I'm being in the presence, I can look around. Well, a piece of my life force, a, a, a just a bead, has
Mm-hmm.
gone to her, to the residence, gone back to her, and come to me. Holy tamale. But we all do it. And I want to give some examples, and I want
Well,
to
the
give
other
some odds.
real quick, the other fun thing to do, and I've done this not only with Nancy but with Ann Bender of Bender Family Paranormal, where I will go into a building. I'm an empath. I admit it. I finally admit it. It's like being an alcoholic. You stand up one day and you go, "I'm an empath." But I have allowed them into, and I don't know how this works. Like Nancy says, Nancy probably knows how it works more than I do. But I open up enough to allow them into my mind to the point where I can be their eyes when I'm on location. So they're seeing through my eyes when I'm looking around the location. So it's really cool to do. And it's really neat because I know Nancy will get frustrated and go, "Look to the right. Don't you see that? Don't you see that?" And I'm like, "No, He says he's right
I'm
there.
not
There's
sure
a
I'm in the
moose in the-
body as much as I may
Yeah,
be in the space because a lot of
yeah.
times she'll call me for
It's
years. She
funny to
did
think.
this, send
Yeah.
me the house, and then I read it, and then I send the information. Most of the time, I'll type it up. If she's in a hurry, I just blah, 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 blah. And then when she gets in there, then I'll tell her, well, look at those
It's
masks.
fun to hear her get frustrated. Yeah, she'll say, "Don't you see it? It's right over there. It's right over there. I don't see nothing."
Were you,
You know,
was this the, did you, did I do this with you or some other group where I walked in and there was masks on the wall from Africa?
that was us. That was us. And it
And I was
turned out
looking at him, I'm
he
thinking,
collected those
huh?
he collected those masks. It turned out to be something from Hawaii that he had brought back, a
Yeah,
Polynesian
one of
mask.
them was boo boo.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, that was
I
in
remember
that
looking
part.
at the wall thinking, wait a minute, what's those things on the wall? And she goes, what? Okay, that's
Okay,
courting.
right.
And to make it simple, I remote view. Well, that's still the same
Mhm,
process. When she shows me the house, sometimes I'll say, what state is it?
mhm,
Usually it's California, but we can do things from out of state real easy. And seeing spirit, I'll never forget that night. Who Stands Next to Me was the title of the show. And the fella in Pennsylvania or somewhere, I saw all these people outside. And evidently there was a mine cave in. I don't know, Shar show or Matt show, but and I said, how am I doing this? And it's according to an area. But when you remote view, you are in the area, but you don't need a body because the
mhm,
young man was in the house. I was outside.
mhm.
And you go, wow, okay, so only practice. I do this every day for 33 years, virtually every day, because
Right.
it's either Shar or family that's calling me.
Mhm.
If I don't have a client that someone says, tap into this, and of course, that's of course. Um, I want everybody to think a few things here. I would like you to think of I'm doing my life, I'm walking around, all of a sudden someone pops into my head. And guess what? They call. Well, let me tell you how many times Shar and I've done that. In fact, I'll
Mhm.
sometimes reach to the phone and she'll be calling within a few seconds. I know I do
Mhm.
it to her and I do two or three other people. I didn't tell them I'd speak of them tonight, so I won't give the name. But it happens to all of us all the time. I know if someone's thinking of their dad, a father figure. And so when that person thinks of that individual, then they are connected. You don't have to be on the phone to connect to people. Let me tell you, I I talked to my son today, and we had a pleasant. He's taken a trip coming out here to visit from Arizona, and I told him I loved him, and I went to him and gave him a little bit of a hug, and I kissed his face, and he's very sensitive. He didn't say anything, but I could actually
Mhm.
feel his skin. Um, it's kind of like, how do we do this? Well, if you practice every day, you can. You can all do this. But I'm going to take it to the extreme tonight. I only have 40 minutes, if that. Shar, do you have a show tonight? I mean, a
I do.
class
So
tonight?
take your time. You're good to go.
Okay. I want you to think of some things, and then I want to propose some tools. I'm going to propose some other situations, and we'll do as many as we can. If we have to, we'll carry it over because I'm going to give a big list at the end of this of situations where courting and control um, is very, very important. Um, how many of you have had a partner and you were just not trusting this individual? Whether you were dating long time, married, or just started
Mhm.
dating, how many of you had that? I'm calling a girlfriend up because something's really wrong. Or those of you who've had an accident, you had a feeling, you entered your own time, and you could feel something happening. You are
Mhm.
courting to a future event. You're courting to your the lover or the dating partner because you're thinking of them. And I don't know anybody alive that's talked to me that hasn't had a sense of something's really wrong. I think
Mhm.
my partner's cheating on me, or they're going out with their friends. You wouldn't know any different. Then you find out that somebody came into town and they went to the get some beer or something. But at the
Mhm.
same time, you won't know that, but you know they're not with you and they're not calling you and talking to you. You have a sense of them being distracted. And that's because you're energetically courting to that person without even realizing it. And that can get you in trouble. Absolutely. Where have you been? Well, my brother just came into town. We went out. If they break a date with you and then you go, wait a minute, Is that jealousy, or is that because they really have something to go on? If they're not telling you, then I would be cautious. Absolutely. I'm not a fool. You can't say, well, why aren't they sharing they're going to go out with their buddies? We are entitled. If you were wanting to go out with the girls, what would you tell your man? Well, I'm going out with the girls. Hopefully, he's not jealous, right? Goes
Mhm.
both ways. I do have more women clients than men because women are more likely to talk and to visit, to share, and they're more apt to reach for people like myself to give them comfort direction. I do have 3 men that just talked to me this past week, which is fun, um, real big range of ages. Um, I want to be careful how I word this. Even one of the gentlemen lost his wife, and we can cord to a spirit person. Absolutely. I tell my clients, they're not all mind readers. And you say, well, I was feeling something. We energetically have a language that is spoken in our energy fields. I had a marvelous opportunity to entertain at a psychic fair in Phoenix, Arizona. And I was in Tucson, so it took a couple hours to drive up there. And someone had gotten ill who read aura photography photographs. So the gentleman was running the booth, but he had a psychic. And I looked at the Polaroid and I was able to read it. I got all kinds of information off of it. And the guy says, oh, you're really good at that. I go, why not? Because somehow invisibly, the color scheme gave me information
Mhm.
because all our colors are going to be different. At one time, I saw auras pretty clearly. It's not something that's primarily my primary interest. And I saw it more as wavering lines and dense and sparkly, not so much color, but the energy field around people. And it can tell a story. Well, what if someone had an energy field all wah, 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 and they think of you and you get hit in the side of the face? Oh man, who is thinking of me? My husband doesn't do it as often, but he has said in the past, what's wrong with you? And I go, what do you mean? And he says, well, you're really drooping. And I would stop and think about it, go, oh my gosh, you're right. I just got kind of heavy and depressed. Well, within a half hour, someone's calling me. Okay, let's go talk. Because I'm very sensitive to that. It's uncomfortable at times, and you
Mhm.
have to learn to put the barrier up, but you can't do it 24/7. Yes, I know, and I'm going to tell you how to do that. But for me to
And
clamp up
Judith,
and not
and
go
we have
ahead,
a
honey.
comment in the chat room. I hate interrupting, but Judith says that talking about courting like this, she says that happened to my mother. That happens to my mother. That happened to my mother and I all the time. I would go to call her, pick up the phone, and she would be there, trying to call me at the same time.
I love that, especially when you're a loving couple. I'm going to be talking about anger here soon because anger sometimes is a bigger swat. Boing, you get hit side the head like, oh my gosh. I get grief. I can really tell when someone's grieving over a
Mm-hmm.
relationship, a lot
Mm-hmm.
of relationship. But you can also have it for so many different reasons. Grieving over a loss of a partner or grieving over the loss of your business.
Well, I had that
Really,
happen a couple of years ago. My close friend and I'm not gonna
Monica?
say who it is. No, I'm not gonna say who it is. Let's just say it's somebody. And she lost her son in a very tragic way. And she'd been coming home
Ooh.
from a trip to New York, and I could hear her in my head screaming, literally screaming
Oh,
in my head over him. And
oh
so
my gosh, I
I
almost
knew to
can't
call.
handle that.
Yeah, but to this day I could hear her, in my head. But that happened, and then she would cord back and forth, especially towards the end with my mother. When I would be so upset going back and forth at the hospital with my mother, she always knew when I was upset. So we had a cord thing going on. All right, continue.
Hmm. It's kind of like a two cans and a rope. How many
Yeah,
pictures have movies have we seen? Two kids up between two houses. You got that string with the two
right,
cans.
right,
Absolutely the same visual.
absolutely. I'll shut up now. Go
Right?
ahead.
No, I don't have to shut up. I just didn't know we had someone in the room speaking. Hello, dear, whoever they are. I can't
That
see
is
it because I
Judith.
have my notes here.
Yeah, that's
Judith?
Judith.
Oh, Judith.
I'll
I
take
know
care of the
Judith
chat room.
is.
Yeah, I finally figured out how to read this thing without having to be in like everybody's face. So there we go. So Yeah.
Okay, so I'll just keep on my notes here. I've spoken of how I do the readings. No mystery. I move my life force from me to each client I'm going to speak to. And I just spoke of my client in Italy, how she would think of a daughter, and I would move from to her, and I do over the phone just as well as in person or in video, to her, to the daughter, and back again within a second. And that's another topic. Shar and I talked about this inner space. How are we traveling that fast? Was
Hmm.
it you I was talking to, Shar? I think so.
Yes.
I talk
Yes.
to people, I go, oh my gosh, who am I talking to? Um, so when someone asks me a question, I move my force to you and everybody else in a split second. How do I get the answers? I have to actually blend with people. I'm not a mind reader. Thank God. Wouldn't that be awful? People would be afraid of me. Though people sometimes will send images to me. And I kind of go, well, that's interesting. Where I get my
Hmm.
information is entering time. Whether I go a split second to yesterday afternoon, or I go a split second ahead and I can travel tomorrow afternoon, or years in either direction, it doesn't seem to affect how fast I go. But that could be for another show. Now, the
Hmm.
amazing thing about this is how we're able to move, all of us can move our life force automatically at will, not knowing that we do it or how it's actually being done. And
Hmm.
I kind of think that we've all done it. I've said to somebody in a talk, I says, I wish I had, color for cookies and cakes. I would like to have a big old teaspoon of blue. And every time I send out little spaghetti thing going into the universe, I would love to see it wind around. I think it disappears between our dimensional space and another space. Because the
Hmm.
thought of me going to Italy, back to the United States, to Italy, back to me, tires me out. That's uh, what, 12,000 miles round trips?
Hmm.
How could I do that? I'd be all worn out. I think it's a direct line, really quick, within a second. I can't possibly think how we could travel that way. But I imagine the way that we do this is the same as spirit people pop in and out. They think of it, they're there. I think the universe has a mystery that's yet to be unfold. How are
I
we
always
moving
think
in
of it
space?
like, and I know you're going to laugh about this because it's just the way this mind works, right? See, Nancy's already smiling. It's coming. I always think of it as beaming out like in Star Trek, and that's how my mother always looked at it. Was that
Beaming
you can like
out?
beam from place to place. Like how they beam it from location to location, and it's like instantaneous. It's kind of like
Beam
that.
me up, Scotty, kind of a
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
But that's a whole person. I think our life force, our energy field, is so fast that we have no comprehension of it.
Right.
I wonder because we see, well, I watch UFO stuff a lot. And I was telling you how a UFO got over our house, and Larry came in and, all right, get your glasses.
Right.
I should have my camera, you know. And we were watching it, and then I turned around and there was something, and he says, "Uh, I what?" He said it just went, it was gone. Pardon me, gone. And then Skinwalker Ranch conversation came up, and how they're disappearing in portals or black holes. I want
Hmm.
to say interdimensional. I call it inner space. I actually had some movies called that inner space. So I think there's something yet to be told about that. But let's go on, and if we have to,
Yes.
we'll make this next week's show. How about the mother that is always into with the child? Go into one room and you think, where's that toddler? Uh-oh, kitchen. Go out there and it's gotten into the flower. Or the mother whose child is asleep in another room. I tell you, when both my kids were little, one would breathe out of order, boop, boop, and I would be
Yep.
up in the dead of night, because we never lose that connection. We are
Hmm.
constantly courted. Can you imagine someone raising twins or triplets? We are constantly using our life force, touching each child. And no matter where they live in the world, we're touching them. Because I have a child in another state. You don't think I don't tap into that?
Hmm.
Get my love. I says only a mother can force a kiss. And
But
he
you know what?
laughs.
I
He
think
says,
it not only works for mothers and daughters, it also works for siblings.
Absolutely, depending on the
Because
relationship.
I've had some really cool things happen with my sister that surprised me in the last few months.
Oh,
like going to a funeral and being dressed in the same colors, same color scheme,
that's right. That's
same
right. You
same
told me that.
polish on the finger. Yeah, I mean, you walk in, you're like, whoa, looking. So it's just things
Well,
like
that
that.
was,
Yeah,
and you look at it and go, wow, that was clever for you to pick that color, but which one
yeah.
gave the other one the idea? That's
Same,
absolutely true,
right down to the
right?
fingernail polish. I mean, it was just woo. Okay, I want to introduce people in the chat room real quick too. Susan is with us. Judith is with us. Kat is with us, and Kat's all the way from Canada, Niagara Falls,
Oh my goodness,
and
girlfriend.
and
And she
Marisa is
gets
with
on the,
us.
and
Yeah,
she's with us.
and
Good
she's with
power
us.
lines up there. Good internet. Who
Okay.
else, honey?
And we've got Marisa in here. So we got some people in the chat room. And for those of you listening that aren't in the chat room, come on in. Don't be shy. That's what we're about. See, it says, come join the conversation back there. That's what it's about. Right
Now,
there.
that's curious. Now, are these kids on YouTube or is this Facebook?
It's a mixture. We got some Facebook people in here and we got some
Okay.
YouTube people
Oh,
in here.
nice meeting. Oh, I wasn't sure how this works. I know RSS is just listening. The passing of a loved one, you're sitting with somebody who is ill, and all of a sudden you're seeing people in the room as she does. So,
Mm-hmm.
or he. So you could be holding someone's hand, but you're energetically surrounding your loved one. And I've actually had stories, I think it actually happened to Shar, of people whose partner were passing away, they're very ill. And we embrace them. We can't keep them here, but we want to. So we'll actually envelop them with our life force, as
Yep.
though to say, I'm selfish, I'm greedy, I'm not going to let you go home, I'm not going to let you go to paradise. I want to keep you here in this miserable old planet Earth. I'm selfish. I want you here. And you kind of grappling with them. Well, what happens is the process. And remember, this is an area that I'm particularly
Mm-hmm.
good at. I'm all of a sudden seeing the relatives that I'm describing who's in the room, and they had seen the same person. So
Mm-hmm.
what they weren't insane, they weren't crazy. And how many times have I told the audience, and for a lot of years, I think, how am I doing this? Am I reaching into someone's memory and
Mm-hmm.
arbitrarily picking up a relative that could be in the room? When in actuality, it's the relative that the dead or dying or the sick person is actually wanting to see. There's no way for me to know stuff like that.
Well, that
So after,
happened. Oh, that happened with my mother and I at Kaiser. And, but, I had her take, we went to Kaiser, and I'm not going to say the circumstances, but I remember my mother sitting there, and I saw something fall off the wall that shouldn't have fallen off the wall. And I said, "Is there someone in here with us that I should know about?" She says, "Yeah, it's Daddy." And I said, "Well, where's Daddy?" "He's over by the door."
your
And I said,
mother,
"Really?" She goes, "Well, he's mad." And I said, "I bet he is." But I mean, that's what happens. You hear about these relatives, so you have to stay open to it because they are seeing them.
they are showing up. Um, my mother showed up a few times after her passing, and she was so excited about being in the afterlife. She really believed, and it's a long story. I entertained a group of people in her complex when she was older, Portland, Oregon. She was the most popular woman in the building for a good month or more. Oh, that was your daughter? And I had read the whole group of people, and of course they're all 78 years old. It was so fun. Um, so I want to talk about appointments that someone have come to me and they're grieving over a broken relationship. A lot
Mhm.
of that over the decades, and asking me. And some people are more up to wanting to have answers, but because they can also feel it, they're saying
Mhm.
to me, "Is he, she thinking of me? And when do you see them calling me?" Well, that's a fine edged sword because as much as you will think of them, I call it the round robin, wonk, 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 back and forth, back and
Yeah.
forth, back and forth. You will feed so much energy that they can't help but call you. The problem is, it isn't their choice, it's your choice. I always try to encourage people, try not to put that out there because if someone calls you because they're feeling the need to and they're not knowing that you're creating it, it's more likely not to happen. Best way to have someone touch base and come back is to let them go. What's that expression? If you love something, let it go and it will come back. If it's meant to be.
Mhm.
And that's a whole show. Remember, this show tonight is kind of a prelude to Valentine's week and month. So we're going to be talking about a lot of these things. And tonight we're just going to talk about connecting and having it come back and forth. It's very disturbing when someone has been dumped. And it's because we're not going to put the blame on the person who did it always. They're not necessarily in the readiness, or they're not knowing if they can be committed. But that has not always something to do with you. It has something to do with how mature or ready or available they really are. And so when we wish someone to show up so hard, and they do, their circumstances hasn't changed. You still want them. We human beings create a movie in our mind of how we think our future should look. And I'm a divorced lady, and people know me. I'm very stubborn. I'm very committed. And so the first marriage, people changed, but I wasn't. I was going to stay married forever, but it ended up not being healthy for me. Long story, you don't need to know, but I did get divorced. And I realized looking back that no matter how much I wanted it, the forces that pushed me apart made me realize it was cancer that made me realize we were not suited anymore. I was able to let go because I was the one that said, we're done. But my husband, after I did leave, realized, oh, maybe I didn't want her to leave after all. It was a turnabout. It was like, So I felt him for years, for a long time. And I realized that some of the grieving I had of not failure of the marriage, but failure of acknowledging that things need to change. So when I speak of these things, absolutely understand what you are going through. And I'm a metaphysician, I'm a spiritualist, actually a minister. And I've studied this for years and years. And I was an office supervisor at Pacific Bell, and I went to classes and classes and classes. But now I'm at a place in my life, and I realize there are no mistakes. Reincarnation, karma is our own lifetime. Lessons are not lessons, they're experiences. Did we ask for this body? If you want some really eye-opener, children reincarnation stories will make you chuckle and say, is that right? And this verification of children reincarnation stories is one of the Facebook pages I'm a member of. A lot of children, LMN is one channel. Just type into YouTube, children reincarnation stories, children 2, 3, 4, 5, up to 4.5 to 5. Don't lie. And the stories are amazing. It makes you wonder, gosh, you mean I asked for this life? Holy tamale, right? But we're still human. We still want our partner. We still create grief. We still have these breakups. We still this. So let me continue, because my job is to make you aware that we are human and we're here for an experience. But it's to your choice how much you suffer, not my choice. All I can do is give you the tools and verify what you already know. So then I kind of chuckled. I wrote this up this morning, and then this afternoon. Should I speak of meditation to acknowledge your boundaries of your person and know how to control your emotions or feelings so that you can keep your energy to yourself and not put your life force onto whom you are thinking? Meditation is something I started doing, but my mind goes very, very fast. And I thought to myself the other day, my mind is slowed down a little bit, but I'm just think very, very quickly. Tried to meditate, still can't sit still. So I think it's a matter of how fast you turn the switches on to meditate. I would like to give you a thought. So I made this up, railroad track, two lanes. And so I'm traveling on the left side of the train track on the metal rod that they travel on. And there are times when I get in discord or my energy's, and I think I gotta calm down. Or I can get upset easily if someone's thinking of me. And I want you to think about this. All I do is step out of that spot onto the right side. And I step out of the emotion by redirecting my life force to something else. Well, it happened today. I was doing something, and all of a sudden, the song Hard Day's Night came into my head. Of all songs in the whole world, I was a Beatles fan. My best friend was a Elvis fan. I was never one to put posters in my room. I just really liked the Beatles. I was never that kind of girl. I went to visit her, and Elvis took up every corner of the walls of her bedroom.
Not
But
good taste.
today I thought of A Hard Day's Night. I Want to Hold Your Hand was actually one of my favorite ones. And I thought, okay, tough day. I'm going to go listen to it. It wasn't tough. I was just really busy. And I was kind of getting wound up, meaning I was putting so much focus on what I was doing. So I went to YouTube, typed in A Hard Day's Night, listened to a couple versions by a few people, completely distracted and put me into another lane. That's the healthiest thing that you can do instead of meditation. Now, meditation results is similar to what I was talking about. So if you like sitting very quiet, listen to music, and it works for you, wonderful. For me, it's some other energy taking the place of the discord energy I was going through. So there's the two good examples on what you can do for yourself. So I'll say it again. Meditation, or stepping aside, I call it, acknowledge the boundaries of your person and know how to control your emotions. So in some way, I'm telling you, step out of the negative emotions and go to a positive thought. And this is going to be important later on here. To keep your energy to yourself and not put your life force onto whom you are thinking. I would also say today I was really physically busy. And so I got tired. I was burning too much energy up thinking what I need to do. So stepping over, listening to A Hard Day's Night, calmed me down. So I went back to my task. I was more productive. Same end result. We not always can't control our feelings, but we can become aware of our action. And all you need to do is to redirect your thoughts, actions, emotions. Same thing, just what I was talking about. When I feel someone courting and I feel negative, I say, I will not own what is not mine. Just because someone puts themselves on you negatively, tearfully, upset, it isn't you. But if you pull it into yourself and makes you uncomfortable or negative or not feeling well, that is your fault. So if I said to you, I will allow other people around me to be in their experience because that's what's happening in their life in that moment. Remember, I'm thinking now, and I believe this now. I've had a lot of years to kind of convince myself. We're here for a life experience, and we're wearing these meat jackets. Our spirits in here just loving this thickness of body, the breath of each moment, our heartbeat, and we're living in this moment. I'm very colorful. I love beautiful things around me, like the poster. This is the calmest one because I know it's right behind me. It looks better on video. I have some crazy, beautiful things in my life to look at. And sometimes I need that to put me back on track of where I was. Okay? If someone's negative or someone's unhappy and they court into me, then I get on a different track. I put my mind somewhere else. A lot of beautiful things help that for me. Doesn't mean I'm not sympathetic. It means that if you call me or if someone else calls me, then my job in that moment is put you on track again so you're more productive and happy, whatever. I want to go back to what we were talking about being unhappy because this is very, very important. Again, we cannot always control our own feelings, but we can become aware of the actions of others. And all you need to do is redirect your thoughts, actions, emotions. So when someone is thinking of you, and I would go backwards too, reverse. If you're thinking of someone else and you know you're out of control in those emotional feelings in that moment, step aside, look at something beautiful, listen to a song, realize that you're redirecting your energy onto somebody else. If they broke up with you, it had nothing to do with you. It had everything to do with what they were expecting, who they were expecting, their anticipation or immaturity level, or they just weren't ready. And you can't take the blame of it. What's that expression? I wrote it on here. I haven't got to that part yet. Sometimes, please remember, I'm just trying to help. Sometimes what you want the most, you can't get, you fall deeper in love. Crazy in love. I had a gal call me, must be 25 years. She was in love with a WWE fighter. And I said, oh, They're courting back and forth. He saw her, she saw him. She won't let go of him, poor guy. Can I ever meet him? Yeah, you can go to what do they call them? The fights. I mean, the wrestling matches. Absolutely. Can he see you? Absolutely. Would he find you attractive? Absolutely. I was like gorgeous. No wonder he noticed her. Doesn't always mean there's a relationship. But what she's doing is using her body energy up, exhausting herself, wondering if and hoping that he's going to see her and come over. I didn't know his marriage status. I wasn't going to promise anything. It didn't mean that he couldn't talk to her, but she was counting her whole life on the possibility that he would notice her and come over to her and start a relationship. Holy tamale. Let me think here. What movie star am I attracted to? You think if I went to a movie screening, he would be there and notice me? Who am I? Well, at my age, it would have to be Al Pacino or somebody else, right? But no, I know better than that. So if you feel negative on you and you know it's not you, stepping aside not always will help, because I'm talking about your energy and your moment and how you deal with it. Now let's talk about what happens if someone does it to you. Remember the words, I will not own what is not mine, and then get busy. Or if that does not work, I will literally shake my shoulders and turn around put my focus on something else than what I was doing in that moment, and pivoting, I call it, helps. I saw that word about 2 weeks back. I can't remember, it wasn't about relationships, but I thought, good word, pivoting. I'm changing. So if a negative thing comes to me and I can't break it, I will not own what is not mine. I can't break it. Then I'll think, okay, what I'm doing right now is what they're feeling. So if I'm doing dishes, which I don't do very often, if I'm in the kitchen, then I'll go, I have make the bed. I'll go make the bed. It's changing the energy of which they recorded to. I'm shaking it off. I'm turning around. I'm moving like this. They get distracted. They fall off. Doesn't mean they don't come back. You have to go to it. And I want to talk about that. If you cannot break the energy of someone you are aware of visualizing you, then I want you to visualize a walnut shell. A walnut? I want you to wrap that baby right tight around you. Think of a walnut shell. You get one in your hand, knock, knock, knock. It's hard as a gosh darn rock. Walnut shells like a rock. You can't even break it with a hammer. Visualize yourself, encapsulate yourself in a walnut shell. Now tighten it just a little bit. What you're doing is you're just not permitting somebody to attach into your life force. And to me, it looks like a cotton ball around us. It's all porous, it's soft. And someone can come right in with a little arrow, a hook like for a fish is better visual. Well, I'm going to go right into her. Well, you want to break it off. You could shake it off. You go into another room and you feel, oh man, someone's got a headache. They're pressing on my face. Put on a walnut shell. That usually works. That usually works. Being happy will usually work. The problem with that, you put a pretty song on, you're like really fun and happy, Lauren Hardy kind of happy, Jerry Lewis kind of happy, or whoever is comedian out now. The problem is sometimes the depressed person will also like that. So the idea is you got to clamp up to stay tight enough so that person will get discouraged unconsciously. Oh, I can't go there. Who else can I be sad with? Who else? Who else? And they'll go search somewhere else. And I gave you a lot of ideas here. And if you're listening to this, back it up and see it again, and then hit CC, and then you can see my words go across the screen and write them down. Okay. If you cannot break the energy of someone you are aware of, visualize a walnut shell. Let's go there. Clamp it down, pulling your life force in, not allowing someone to attach. Think of a fish hook. Makes them retract because they can't figure out how come they can't get to you. Unconsciously, they will fall off. By doing this several times, makes them turn away, at least for a while. If you talk to them in the afternoon, if this is someone important, and you say, wow, did you have a bad day? I just had a sense it was a bad day. Oh, I'm so sorry that you got in a car wreck. You should have called me. Because if they attach to, how are you supposed to know where they are if it is that important? Tell you, if it's a child, though, if you know it's a child, I would do everything I can to call them because it's possible now. When I was having kids at home, we didn't have the phones. If someone is angry and you are having a difficult time, and you realize that somebody else around you, they're really angry. I hope it's not somebody you broke up with. Or is it someone at work? Or is it a family member that seems to always be in a bad mood? Kill them with kindness. I took at one point in my career, I was going to be a service rep. Best thing I ever did was take the course. Once I took the course, I went, no, I don't think I want to do this. And they said, you're going to get people calling and yelling at you a lot. I said, why would I like this job? Well, it paid good, but I didn't want it. A telephone company. I went another direction. And they said, lower your voice and smile, even if you're on the phone. So when you have someone angry on you on the phone, do those things. Also do it if they're not on the phone. And you just say, I don't know who this is. I'm so sorry. Why don't we both have a chuckle or smile? Kill them with kindness. Because if it's angry towards you, you don't want them calling it. You can soften their energy by giving them some of your positive energy. Remember, I said don't own what is not yours, but if you know who it is, if someone's angry at you and you know it, oh, lower your voice a little bit. I'm so sorry you're having a bad day. I hope it gets better. And do that over and over. And they can't handle it because the vibration is not the same. I also want to bring up that I'm involved with a few ladies, Karen Rothstein of Roseville, Lincoln, and we started a book, Life Has Gotten in the Way, like it always does for everybody. Attachments. Spirit attachment is a real phenomenon. I absolutely believe in it. And attachment will come because they're finding and looking for someone like them. So if you are always in the boops, blah, 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 and they are, they're going to feel at home with you. So we have to have variation in our life because they cannot attach themselves. You feel like, oh, someone's really on my. And sometimes when people are courting, they're angry or they're in love or they're mom, whatever, they can wrap themselves around you. And I've talked to how many thousands of people. Why? Who's around you? And they get all wrapped around you. Oh, I felt so uncomfortable in my neck and my shoulders. I mean, that's somebody? What do they look like? And I'll describe this person. Oh my God, this guy I broke up with. Remember, whoever's been dumped, it's very hard for them to get over it. And so they'll court even harder because they want you back. So put some happy music on. And I don't sing, but I do make noise. Okay? If you can sing, be happy, make them happier. And it does change. Your vibration change will not always allow someone angry to attach, but to put that angry onto you, intent is 9/10 of the law, make them fall off by being happier, pretty music, singing, changing vibration, going outside, getting some sunlight. Absolutely, all these tools are very important. Similar, as you've heard me talk of spirit attachments, I just said this, like-minded, they're looking for that, change it. If you're in a bad space and have been for a while, this is a totally new topic. We don't need to go here. If you're having trouble in your job and your energy's real low, please get some earbuds, get in the car, something that you really like, uplift music of any kind. Don't go into listening to songs that put you in a more mellow mood because it will pull your life force down. And I tell you, it is exhausting to be in a grieving state all the time because of a relationship where someone's angry at you or you're angry at somebody else. You can't you can't fix it. I guarantee you will sleep 10 hours every night until and then you're no good during the day because every time you put energy out, you're being used up. People will say to me, how did you do this, Nancy? People would see me working all this 15 years. I was doing events everywhere. And during an 8-hour day, I would talk to 20, 22, 24 people, depending on the crowds. How did you do that? I am and have been an athlete. And I always encourage anybody that's listening here, please be physically fit. It helps with energy. If you're a low energy individual, you're very calm, very loving, you're going to get really tired. And I think the reason I've been able to do this, even up to my age here, is that I've always been physically very active. Even when I've been ill, and luckily me, the family, excuse me, Grandma, what diseases did you pass down to the rest of us? Kind of a thing. So I do encourage people to keep physically fit. So if you're always tired, yes, it could be medical, but it also could be someone's courting to you so often, or you're doing it to somebody else, you're totally exhausted.
I have a
If the
question in the
anger
chat room
issue, hmm
for Michelle. What about that we enjoy the paranormal? Not the only thing, but I find I'm kind of obsessed. Is that unhealthy?
you're not courting to somebody. I love it that you're obsessed. Are you kidding? You're enlightened. Anybody that gets in this field, I really want you to. I always have a caution to people who do readings. So I would like you to be more, not, oh, I'm not a health nut. Come on, you guys. I just realized it takes a lot of energy to do this, to talk to spirit people, to do reading, do anything that takes energy, because we are energy beings. We're only borrowing this body for as long as it works. If you don't keep it up, it'll betray you. And a lot of people have said, and I actually heard this from a dying person, the body just isn't working. I just want to leave this. It was kind of an eye opener. He was, it was just an interesting conversation, and from a man. It was just, but he did not make good choice. He was very large. When I saw him, I think he had card vessel, blood vessel, but I think he was diabetic also or something. I don't know what it was. We inherit some of these genes. I've had cancer and Graves' disease and a few other things, and they're all inheritable. You know, okay, so let me keep going. If anger is the issue still in force and bother you, sit down and write a note. This is very important too. This is one of the last steps I can give you as a tool. Again, if anger issue either someone put on you or if you do on somebody else, you've seen this in many, many metaphysical shows, is to write a letter. When you're in grieving, you write a letter to your spouse, the deceased wife or the partner. If you broke up with somebody, you write them a note and you keep it healing. And there's actually some things like ceremony. You write a letter and you put it in the fire. Absolutely. But I'm going to take it one more step. If someone's putting anger on you, you were the one that dumped somebody, not cruel, not, end a relationship. Let's be more civilized, Nancy. Come on. Write a letter to that individual. In the car where it's quiet, baby, say it out loud. I am writing you this note. And I'm so sorry that I'm writing, pretend here. I am so sorry that life is difficult and we're not going to be able to be a couple. I loved you when it was time to love you. And I stopped when it was no longer good for either one of us. Short and sweet. But I want you to speak out loud. I think the intent is stronger. You can give them a hug. You need to say goodbye. And you wish them the best of life. You release it. Now, don't mail them that note, honey. That won't do any good. What is the powerful part of it is your intent of writing it and sending it energetically and surrounding them with it. You can burn the letter, put it in an ashtray and burn it up. If that ceremony helps you heal, it will help them. Even if it's for a short while, they will feel, and the word I would say is relaxed, comforted. They may not know it, but you've helped them. Okay, in reverse. I'm in love. How many times you've heard that? Guess what? They think of that person, they're sending that positive energy to them. Oh, people first in love, man, there's glue and they can't even keep their hands off each other or falling into the back of the car or into a hotel room when they're traveling get a room, right? You know why it's so strong? Because they're both sending energy to each other and embracing each other. It's almost like super glue. Please. No wonder you're tired all the time. The romp and the hang is great, but you have to not divorce, you have to move away from each other to catch your breath because we're round robin even to a loved one. If you're missing that loved one, you can always send them kisses just like I did with my son today. He's very intuitive. I know he figured it out. Send him hugs. The receiver will unconsciously receive these and be in a very loving mood when you get together again. Thinking of a child, they can send love and kisses to the child. A good place to send love and kisses is when a child is starting school, kindergarten, preschool, first grade. Think of that child off and on, calming the child and sending them the love. The problem is, and you know this, a lot of children say, "Oh, mom's picking me up." No, I want to stay here. Children love school. And I've had some funny stories told to me over the years. At the same time, you send them love to have fun. You are sending them love to remind them that you're mom and you're coming to get them. It helps
Mhm.
calm them down. Okay. I have sent a lot of love to my grandchildren and children's children. Um, you've heard grandmas say, "I think of you all the time." They do. Um, I have some things I want to speak of. I know we're run out of time here. Purpose of wanting to know about partners. There's a lot of things here that I would like to read quickly, and then over the next month we will talk about them. Expectations of thinking of them or hoping they are thinking of you. Just saw a term that I found curious called backup option. You broke up with somebody, but they keep connecting, and in some way, people are keeping them and hoping that backup option is always available, hoping that they will come back. Unless you've been married since high school, most people have had this experience of the breakup and thinking of that ex until they are forced to connect to you via an emergency calling them. Remember, if you have had an ex in the past, a lot of times we'll think of them so strongly they will connect, but maybe it's not right. Maybe they're not ready again. How tiring have you gotten thinking of the breakup and of your ex, hoping and wishing and grieving of the breakup? Do they deserve your exhaustion, your constant feeling tired? You've been locked into their body, creating a life force around them, and they will either also feel your grief and make. Are you giving them? I mistyped something here. They will also feel that grief, and sometimes they don't always give the best energy back. They will send you energy of theirs, but it could be anger. So be careful how you think of somebody. So, how to stop the round robin action, create an endless loop? Clarify if he or she is worth all the energy you will be giving them. How do you justify giving? How do you justify grieving over someone who does not deserve your tears? Coming to realize that the grief of the breakup is forcing you to refocus to a new direction, which is very difficult. That is a very tough time. But at the same time, sometimes only through grief does our soul evolve, opening new doors to new directions. Most women have created a movie of what they project to be their future. When they change is against their will, how we become traumatized. Yes, talking about counseling out our movie. We have to recreate the movie, but we have to recreate ourselves in the process. Again, that word I just learned, pivoting to a new beginning. If the tools to recover is given only a sounding board, then ask for recovery tools. If you're seeing a counselor, and I'm not against anybody helping anybody, but if they're only listening to you and you feel a little dissatisfied with that, ask for tools to recover. I always give, now, I'm not promoting me, I'm just saying I have learned, not because I've given it, because people have asked me, always have a backup of tools like what I'm giving you. These are really good tools. Um, what I'm really concerned about is what I call the too long recovery that steals years of your life. My mother's friend came to talk to me. That we're talking 25, 30 years ago. My mother's friend talked to me about how recovering from her breakup and how distraught she was. I paused and I said, "Well, how long has it been?" And she sat back, she said, 17 and a half years. I went, "No, really?" And she said, "Yes." She was an older woman who was in love with a much younger man, and he was done. He got from the relationship what was important to him, but she never finished getting from the relationship what she was wanting. She was locked into feeling her ex's new life and grieving jealously and denial that she thought she was worthy of him, but not worthy to find someone new and afraid that the new person would betray her again. There are many steps to work out anger, so we could cover that upcoming. Identify why you still feel like you deserve and need that person. Why aren't you worthy of someone else and someone better? Why we deserve someone we cannot have. Easier to stay in the groove of disharmony than to pivot, love that word, pivot out of this new future, the future you thought you created. Very, very difficult steps. Easier to tell acquaintances that you've just broken up with someone than admit that you're stuck and don't know how to create a new you to find that better partner. And like I said, it could be decades that you could be stuck. So you meet people and say, well, I just ended a relationship, even if it's 10 years ago. You'll say the wrong thing there, right? So it's easier. We get stuck. What I was trying to say. Who are you? Being stuck in old patterns, creating new outlets of interest. And I've also noticed that people will keep the same hobbies, the same interests, and never venture out to try something new. Who are you? Are you marketing the same old you? How exciting would it be for you to get fired up over a new hobby or a new interest or just reading? The internet is amazing. Like some of the new shows that are on. Um, I'm a science nut. I love science, history, travel, all those things that I just do. And so would I explore maybe taking exotic cooking class? Probably a big good idea. Good. Or should I take a trip? Probably not, because I get really seasick and airsick. But it doesn't mean I can't read up on them. I read a lot. So when people talk to me, they go, wow, you sure know. Well, because that's what I'm interested in. You talk about Mexico, I could probably tap into a lot of knowledge for you. Are friends in your life feeding you grief? Clearly, I cannot speak of years of grieving. So if you're in a grieving space, get what your energy is going to do. You're going to gravitate toward those people who are also grieving. Round robin, feed each other grieving, feed each other remorse, feeding each other I deserve better but never get more. Okay? Is grieving giving you a purposeful life for you and your friends? I just spoke to that. Are you conspiring to get revenge? Careful, a dangerous action with no redeeming actions can come from it. Okay? You really want him back. So if you do create revenge or to punish him because you thought you had a life and figured it out and that partner did not see the same future as you, maybe was just not mature or ready. So if you take revenge, that will stay. And that's what I call the karmic lessons that keep coming back, experiences that come back. Because what you're going to do is you're going to attract someone to you who's also on a level of revenge. I covered a lot of things that we can cover the next month. I just told you and told Shar. So there's a lot of topics, only 4 or 5 weeks to do it in. And each of the things I brought up could almost be a whole show. So many examples of courting, as I've done, and the consequences of too tightly bound to somebody, using a lot of your energy up, gravitating energy-wise and courting someone who's in revenge or grieving or a stuck place. Absolutely. The best thing I could say is that nobody has experiences without benefiting from them eventually. We are all better people from the people who have been in our lives, whether negative or positive. If it was negative and not positive, you grew because you knew it was not right for you. Even the death of a friend, you say, I captured from that friend the best I wanted. Those things that didn't match with us, I will let that go with that person and keep what was given to me in the best way possible. Okay, well, I did it.
Okay.
All right, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this, huh? This is what I do for a living, everybody. Parts of it, anyway.
Okay. I want to
Okay.
thank everybody in that chat room. We had Michelle came in. Michelle's here. Uh, Lenore is here. I hope I said your name right. We've got Judith. We've got Marisa.
Got you.
We got Susan
Kat.
and Karen and Kat. And Karen Clark was out lurking because we did get a like from Karen, so she's out lurking somewhere. I want to thank everybody who was in the chat room, everybody who was lurking. I really appreciate that. Like I said, if you like the show, share it because that's what we're just trying to get the word out.
And thumbs up, everybody.
Yeah, and be sure to go to Nancy's YouTube site so she can start getting on some. Yeah, Nancy Matz. So, what's your YouTube site, Nancy?
Nancy Matt's Psychic.
Okay. So check
Okay.
out Nancy's YouTube site and subscribe over there. It doesn't cost anything. She's just trying to build herself up as well. But I want to thank everybody for coming tonight. I appreciate it. Again, the official announcement is Nancy's going to be doing Valentine's readings, and that's through Facebook. That will be February 4th at 4 p.m. Pacific. That way the people on the East Coast don't have to be up so late waiting for these things. So check it out over at the California Haunts Meetup and sign up over there. And there's only 9 spots open for that, so it's going to fill up pretty fast, I think. But be sure to do that. I finally got the right date and time. It's been one of those days. All right. If you like the show, share it with 5 people. If you hated the show, share it with 5 of your enemies. We're equal opportunity here. We're just trying to get the word out about our little show. And please visit our YouTube at youtube.com/at California Haunts Radio. Once again, thank everybody for coming tonight. I really appreciate it. I'm going to share Nancy's contact information with you guys, and then we're going to sign off. Sunday, I'll be back reading from the Kipling book. And then Monday, I believe I have a guest set up. And then Tuesday, Reverend Bill Bean is going to be with us, and he's going to be talking about his new book that he has out and some of his work dealing with negative energies and spirits. So we'll have him with us on Tuesday. All right, so here we go. Here's Nancy's contact information. Websites, nancymatz.com, all lowercase, nancymatzauthor.com. The N, M, and A are capped. YouTube.com/nancymatzpsychic. The N, M, and P are capitalized. Help, get me out of this funk, Nancy Matz. That's one of her books. Two Worlds, Developing Your Psychic Skills. And The Unwilling Sacrifice by Nancy Matz. And the books can be purchased at Amazon. Also, Nancy did mention meditation during the show, and I just so happen to have a meditation group that we do meditations after the show, and that's Tuesday, Thursday, and Sundays. I do that. So if that's something you might be interested in and doing a meditation 3 times a week, come on over. We do all kinds of meditations, from health meditations all the way through financial, all that good stuff that everybody wants.
Please teach the financials. I tell you, she's given me some examples. She'll do this meditation, and she'll call me up. You won't believe what I just got.
Yeah, and
and that positive energy out.
Yeah, that one I use for abundance. Every time I use it, boom, I get abundance.
Amazing.
One way or another. Okay. Anyway, guys, be sure to go. Okay, so now you have homework. Go to Nancy's YouTube site. Head on over to Meetup, to the California Haunts Meetup site, and if you want, sign up for your reading for February 4th, and check out check out the meditations. I'm way ahead of myself. Check out those meditations.
Maybe send a note to Shar what you'd like to hear from me.
Yes, that too. Yes,
for dating.
Yeah, for next month.
Relationships. Because I gave you a lot of topics tonight.
Yep. So you can do that as well. All right, guys. I'll see you Sunday, 6 p.m. Pacific. And then I'm going to start doing, now that I'm feeling good, got my eyeballs back, we're going to start doing extra stuff over in the other room. After the show, we're going to, do some building projects and some different kind of projects that you guys can help me and give me advice with and all that good stuff. Because I did get, like I said, I got a bunch of stuff for Christmas, and I'm a big kid, so that'll be my little crafty room. So I've got a Yoda Lego. That's pretty good size. So we're gonna be building Yoda together. Yoda, yeah. So we've got a bunch of stuff to do. Grogu's gonna be doing Light Bright. I love the Light Bright, so Grogu's gonna do some of that. We got some. Maybe I'll build a Valentine's gingerbread house.
We'll see. Why not?
Yeah, why not? Who says I can't? So yeah, so we'll try to be doing extra stuff and fun stuff, and as weather permitting and everything else permitting, I'm going to start taking the show out on the road. So some of the events that come to Sacramento, like the dinosaur one that was just here, and other stuff, we're going to go ahead and broadcast live and take you guys along with us. So sit tight, and lots of things coming. Lots of things coming. And thank you for coming tonight. Thank you to the RSS people out there, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, everybody out there. I appreciate you all, each and every one of you. Have a great weekend. And again, see you at 6 p.m. Pacific on Sunday.
Good night, everybody.